Basically, tell us that they ask you which 5 or 10 files. And you scrape those 5.
Oh, okay.
That's better way to do it. That's way more efficient.
Like, how would they know what you're
It reads it, but it's not actually reading the LLM code. It's not. It's not actually. It's not. I don't read the credits until you actually send the 5 to 10 files.
It should be. Yeah, let me double check that real quick.
They're live on the call. Which one? Oh, yeah. What's up? I saw this pseudo. Really good. That's not my.
If you can hear me, clap once. If you can hear me, clap twice. Okay, we're gonna be starting soon, like within the next 2 to 3 minutes, okay?
You post your this is where it's like streaming. And by the way, I never know what items are live.
Can you guys hear me good, or is this too low? Good? How's it sound? Someone give me feedback, guys. Come on. Alright, I'm gonna assume that this is okay. Alright, we're gonna get started with today's event, SCE Hacks 1.0, sponsored by Mintlify, Stratus, and CS Department, and Club itself, SCE. Alright, so just to give a quick overview right now, we're getting people checked in still. I know this room is pretty packed right now, but we have the basement space, the incubator, downstairs. You guys could go do your hacking there. You guys are more than welcome to spread out across the library. And we also have the SCE Club room, or not booked, it's our room, but you guys can also do your thing there as well. We have a live stream going. You guys can check out the link. We dropped it in the Discord as well, so you guys can check it out. You guys are around this room. You guys can see what's going on. And yeah, so we're gonna get started with our fireside chat first with our sponsor Mintlify. So I think I can introduce Hanvi, the co-founder of Mintlify. And Ryan will also be doing it as well with him. So let's get started.
Hello, hello.
Can you guys hear me?
Yeah.
Okay. So I wanted to introduce myself first. My name's Ryan. I'm an officer here in SCE, and I'm also really excited that you guys are all here. This is the first hackathon we're running, and the turnout is pretty good so far. So this is just going to be like a chat between me and Hanvi. We're going to talk about some of her experiences, some advice she has, and things that she's learned as a founder. And hopefully you guys learn something from that too. The first question is, what's your background? Tell us who you are and stuff, and then what are some early experiences that shaped your life?
Yeah, for sure. Nice to meet you guys. I'm Hanvi. I'm a co-founder and CTO at Mintlify. We create public-facing documentation for other companies. So if you go to docs.anthropic.com, that is our product. We do API references, help guides, tutorials. If you guys need docs, let me know. And the question was, like, what are some early experiences that shaped my life? My background. I graduated from Cornell and as a CS major, and I would say that, and I grew up in Northern Virginia, and so I'm originally from the East Coast. And I would say that like a big thing that shaped my life was probably like the clubs that I did in college, which I think is applicable here. I met my co-founder in a club where we were building products for other students. We were building a product called Course Plan, which I think like every college has like an equivalent of, like a web app that's like helps you build, plan your courses throughout the 4 years of college. And I think like through that, I really realized that like I really enjoyed programming and building things for other people.
Okay, cool. So we have like some similar stuff here at SCE. Like if you guys are interested in that, you know, seeing that she is here, like where she is now, you should definitely hit up SCE. Next off, like if you were a CS student right now in 2025, how would you spend your time and what would you do?
Yeah, for sure. So I recently did a talk at YC where we talked about like our early experiences, and a big thing, like my big piece of advice for people in college right now would be that like the only thing holding you back from like learning new things is like your mindset, in my opinion. Like if you wanna like, you know, learn how to code, like learn how to build things, and you have like a crazy product in mind, like you have the resources in front of you to do it. And like the only, like if you have like the mindset, oh, like I don't know enough, or like I need to take more classes, or I need more time, or I'm too young, like you're like the only person telling yourself that. And so like in today's day and age, like you can just like, my advice is to like just go do it, which I know is like very cliche, but I genuinely do believe it. And just like build stuff on the side, like even if like school is like probably not, you know, teaching you like the most modern technologies, like learn everything that's like more applicable to like the industry, or like to building things that like can impact people's lives.
Yeah, cool. So that is good. So like yeah, in the club we also like encourage a lot of people to just spend a lot of time doing their own things and building and learning things, and we encourage that through some of our several programs. So yeah, I have to know, right? Like you're CTO of a new startup. For a first job, like how would you compare joining big tech and then joining like an early stage startup in 2025? What
Yeah.
trade-offs matter? Like tell us maybe about your background, what you did before you joined.
Oh,
or, like,
yeah,
before
for
you
sure.
joined Notify.
For sure. So I think my freshman year, I interned at a government contractor. Since I grew up in Virginia, that was like, there was a lot of those there, and I really hated that. It was like a cubicle job, and people were not passionate, and it was very like, I don't know, like really sucked the life out of me, or out of everyone there, I think. And then I did startups my sophomore year, and then my junior year I did an internship at Duolingo. And Duolingo was like around like 300 people when I was there, or like almost like somewhere between 300 and 400. And that experience was really good. Like the culture is really great. They are in Pittsburgh, so that's like the only downside. Like no one else is in Pittsburgh except for Duolingo, I think. But I would say that like in like a founder mindset, like people say like, oh, I'm gonna go to big tech after college because I'm gonna like learn more about the industry and how to work and like, you know, grow as a person, and then like, you know, find an idea and then become a founder. And I feel like that's kind of just like pushing off the main goal if you are interested in being a founder, because there are so many variables in place where like it could go wrong, where like you're on a bad team, where you like actually don't learn anything, and you're like not as impactful as you could be, which I feel like, you know, the ideal big tech to startup story is like you have a problem at Google and then you build a startup like for that problem for like other people. But I feel like that's like betting a lot and like pushing like the real goal off. And so if you're interested in founding a startup, I think you should just try things and build things as opposed to like going to Google and like trying to do it more like a convoluted way. Yeah, like I feel like I'm so embedded in the startup world that it's like hard for me to like kind of like imagine outside of it at this point. But it's really fun. People are really passionate. If you care about a mission and making an impact on the world, I highly recommend doing a startup because you're like very much in tune with everything that you're doing. Another example that I like to say is that if you're like a software engineer at Uber, like I feel like if you care about the value, like it's hard to extrapolate like where, like whether you're actually making positive impact on the world if like Uber is like, you know, like doing political stuff against like public transportation and stuff. But for me, as a founder, I know exactly where our money's going, like who we're helping and how we're creating the value in the world. And like just having that like super flat, like, you know, like hands-on like understanding of that is like really refreshing to me. Like I literally don't think about that at all. I'm like, you know, like if you care about morale or like, and you're like at Meta and you're like, I don't know if what I'm doing is right. Like, I feel like it's, if these are the things that you care about, like I feel like you should get started.
You're very much like, you're dialed in with what you're doing. It's like very
100%.
intimate with your work, rather
Yes.
than kind of like serving a bigger body.
Exactly. Like I talk to my customers. They're like right there. Like, yeah.
Yeah. You know, in this age of AI, like everyone seems to be able to do everything now. So, like, what do you think? What role types do you think will compound fastest over the next 3 to 5 years? So I'll give some examples, like platform engineering, infra engineering, data and ML, security, or like product-focused software engineers. Like, what do you think students should be focusing on, and like, do their passion on that at this point?
Yeah.
If everyone can do anything.
Yeah. I definitely like want to like. I have a very like optimistic view on AI. I think, you know, it's clearly like impacting the world. I don't know how like it's impacting school. Like I'm sure it's like completely different if you have AI at school. And I think that like school is probably like adapting to AI a lot slower. But like you should definitely just view it as like a tool in your toolbox. And like you should use it to accelerate yourself as opposed to like dumb yourself down. Like you should use it to like, you know, learn more and accelerate your learning and like accomplish more within a shorter amount of time. And in my opinion, I think like as AI gets better at coding, like the soft skills of an engineer become more important. And that's really what, like even without AI, that's like what distinguishes a senior or staff level engineer as opposed to a junior level one, is like the ability to have product opinions and be able to like make decisions and understand impact and like advocate for things. And so I think that's going to become even more important nowadays. Like you can be like a new grad and like code out like a whole new feature within a day with AI and like, you know, learn really fast and make impact on day one.
So it seems like there isn't like a specific thing that we should be, I guess, focusing on or like zoning in on, but rather just developing our skills outside of just pure programming.
I think like the interfaces today, like the chat apps, like are actually really good for like forcing you to have good clarity of thought, which has always been important, but I feel like I think about it a lot more. It's like, okay, like how good am I at conveying my ideas precisely? And like I think that like, of course now with this tool in our toolbox, like we now have to learn how to work with it that way, at least in today's day and age.
Yeah.
And so maybe like get better at prompt engineering, I guess. Like it sounds cliche, but I actually think it's true.
It's like a new paradigm because
Yeah.
like LLMs are realistically a reflection of ourselves. It's like
Yeah.
they're trained on the things that we've said, we produced.
Yeah.
So we need to be better at, I guess, instructing ourselves.
Exactly. Like I'm trying to become a better like reader and writer and yeah.
Okay. Nice. The next question is like, you know, when you are hiring people, like you're hiring, when you are hiring people, what kind of people do you look for? Like, you know, like what skills do they have? Are there any specific characteristics that you look for in the team?
Yeah, for sure. I think that being like super collaborative is super important early on in your career, where like you can level up faster if you are asking questions and able to like just understand the way that other people think. And so we always like to say like slope over y-intercept, where it doesn't matter where you start as long as like we see potential in you. And so like the ability to grow fast is also, I guess, a skill, very vague, but I would say that like early on in your career, that should be what you optimize for. And I kind of already like alluded to this before, like just having good product intuition and understanding like, you know, I guess to some extent like the core of the business is also very important for engineers. Like if you like, I feel like when I was interning, like I like didn't really understand like the business aspect of things until I did YC. And even as a software engineer, you're there like working for the company because you're working on a feature that like is gonna help somebody. And so like, and that's like kind of like the core of the business and like providing value for somebody. And like as long as you're in tune with that, like you will always be on the same page as the company to some extent. So I think like thinking about that and that mindset, even as an engineer who's like, you know, writing code every day, like not like a salesperson, is important. Yeah,
Be impressionable, be like personable.
for sure.
Be a good,
Yeah.
Before we go, like the next question is about like actually building a startup. I just wanted to see if anyone in the crowd is interested in building a startup or maybe joining a startup.
Okay.
Okay. So we have Mizan in the corner. I see Mizan. So the next question is like, do you have any advice for aspiring startup founders on getting started, growing, and like funding? So like, should we be bootstrapping? Should we be trying to like get into incubator programs? Like,
Yeah. I speak very highly of YC. I think like everyone who like,
Does everyone know what YC is before we continue this question?
yes, I can explain it.
Sure,
Yeah.
sure,
So
that'd be great.
YC is short for Y Combinator, and it is a startup accelerator that used to be in Mountain View, but now is in San Francisco. And in my opinion, it's like the only like startup accelerator that matters. Like I feel like any other one, like you probably shouldn't get funding from. You should just like raise a seed. But I feel like the options are either do YC like bootstrap or just raise like immediately from VC if you could. And I recommend YC because like it really helped me like think about fundamentals of a business, and I feel like it definitely leveled me up from being just a software engineer to somebody who like more like a co-founder of a company that like where I understood like what I was pushing and like how to like think about things like outside of just the code. But even earlier than that, if you're like, you know, if you don't have like an idea or a product to start on, like my number one advice, like as like even above YC, is to just build things and ship it like really fast. That's like what my co-founder and I did. Like the only thing we knew how to do was like build products and like code. And the number one reason why people don't like end up with a startup is because they just get too scared to launch something. And a product before you launch it and after is completely different. Like the type of work that you do and like your day-to-day will completely change if you have customers. And like every single decision you make before you validate an idea is just a hypothesis. And so like so many people get stuck in like, oh, what decision should I make? Like what should we do for the color of this button? And like that's all like a waste of time in my opinion until you do like the MVP like way to like validate an idea. And sometimes that means not even building a product. Maybe it's a fake demo or like a video or something where someone could get an idea of like what you're trying to build for someone, and then you gotta be like, do you want this? And then like they can either reject you, and that's kind of scary, or want it, and like you'll have so much more information than when you didn't. So just ship things is like my main thing.
Yeah, so like it seems like there's a lot of iteration in this process where you're
yeah.
constantly going through and you're like, you know, tuning your product, changing your product, getting customer feedback, and then kind of like adding on to what you have. So like tell us some YC story. Like there's this infamous story that you guys pivoted some number of times. Like tell us about that. Tell us how you kind of came back from that.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Pivoting a lot of times is it's mentally straining.
Yeah.
It's hard, right?
Yeah. So for the timeline, I think I talked about like my origin story personally, and then I was talking about the club where my co-founder and I met, and then we applied to YC like our senior year of college, and then we told each other like if we got in, we would drop out because it's worth it. And we applied with a different idea, interviewed with a different idea, and then by the time the batch started, it was a different product, and then by the time we raised our seed, we also went through a couple iterations throughout the summer after that. And I think honestly the number of products like I don't remember the exact number, but I think it's like somewhere between 7 to 8 products. And yeah, we're just constantly iterating and constantly like, you know, figuring out like different reasons why it's not working. And to kind of briefly go through like some of the iterations, the first product was like one of the first GPT wrappers like out there because we had access to the private beta to GPT-3, and we just wrapped it and made a web app and threw it out there. And it was really bad because the AI was worse back then, and it also was like not solving a real problem, and so it had like really poor retention, like nobody was coming back, which is, retention is like a really important metric for like to validate whether a product is working or not, if not the most important. And then we like isolated it down to like a VS Code extension that like generates doc strings, and then no one was willing to pay for that, even though it was a better product. And then now we're here where we interviewed a bunch of YC founders, and they were telling us that code-facing documentation is not solved. And for the longest time we ignored that, and then we decided to like go for it. And you know, people were immediately willing to pay for it, and like they would stay on the product for a really long time, and it was very sticky and had a natural viral factor. So it had all these like core pillars of a good product, and we've kind of just been running with it since.
That is super interesting. Yeah. So, like we have a couple minutes left. I have one more question, then we're gonna take some questions from the crowd. How do you handle dealing with the stress behind building a startup? Like these 8 iterations probably had a lot of like headaches and a lot of moments where you kind of, you know, maybe you should like give it up. Is there a sense of like work-life balance? Like how do you enforce that?
Yeah, so now it feels like so long ago when we were pivoting, which it wasn't really, but I feel like we live multiple lives. Like there's like so many things going on at all times. Like even within this year, I feel like so much has happened. Even within like the past like 2 to 3 months, like the whole summer, so much has happened. But honestly, it's super fun. Like I think in spite of it being stressful, like I get to choose who I work with, and like I love everybody that I work with, and like there's like this problem-solving nature of programming that I also really enjoy, and then there's also a problem-solving nature of the business and like the company, and I've actually grown to really enjoy that, where like each problem like is like unique based on like the moment in time, like who you are, and there's so many variables, and you just have to make the right decision based on those variables, and like I genuinely enjoy the process. Like I enjoy the journey. And so in spite of it being hard, like I feel like I'm still like locked in. I'm still like, I'm doing this. This is the path I took. Like there's no backing out now. And so yeah, like I've always felt very committed to the cause. And work-life balance, like I also don't think about too much. Because like I am just naturally passionate for what I'm working on. And so it naturally just ends up like being X number of hours. And people always ask me how many hours I work, and I never know. Like, I don't count my hours. And so I'm just working, and that's just what it is.
Love your job, and it doesn't feel like a job.
Exactly.
Okay, awesome. So that's like all the questions we have for the chat itself. So I'm gonna open up to the crowd. Like, does anyone have questions? You can pass the mic.
Thank you. Yeah. So, how did you come up with the idea that you originally applied to YC with, and like, what was your thought process through the transformation to like what it is now?
Yeah. So throughout the pivots, I think the most important thing is to learn from them. And I know that also sounds cliche, but like you should be like very metrics driven and like understand like what like define what success would mean for you. And so throughout every pivot, like there was like some metric that wasn't working. And so it's like, okay, for the next one, we gotta make sure that like we have good retention or we have good virality, like that kind of thing. And you can always track that. And so like, you know, like product market fit should feel like chasing a boulder down a hill as opposed to, you know, pushing a boulder up a hill. And so like, there truly is no right or wrong answer for when you should pivot. Like that is like the age-old question, and like that's really just up to you. Like I was saying, like there's so many variables in place about yourself, the market, like the technology at the time, and everything. But like, yeah, like we a lot of times it felt like pushing a rock up a hill, and so we were like, okay, like is this the battle that we want to fight right now? Like, does this make sense? Like, are we well suited for this problem? And like, can we like MVP this fast or not? And a lot of times it was no, and for like many different reasons. Like for one of them, I remember like the doxing generator, like this was like 2022, like we had companies that were interested in it, and they were like, oh, like we can't like send our code to OpenAI. And then it was like, okay, do we like learn ML? Like, do we learn how to make like a like model to do this ourselves? And then we were like, we'll never build something as good as OpenAI. And so we're like, okay, this is probably isn't a battle worth fighting. So kind of like that, kind of like we like to make like simple like pros and cons, like decision matrices, and like add it up and be like, okay, yeah, this isn't worth it.
Alright, thank you.
So at Cornell, what CS classes you find like actually applicable to the work that you did with Fundamental?
I feel like for programming classes, like for fundamental CS, like you should just learn like how to appreciate elegant code. Like you should just like know how to code. Like if you're vibe coding all the time and you have no opinions about what good code looks like, you should probably fix that, in my opinion, because like you should vibe code and then understand like or look like strive to learn and understand what you're doing, as opposed to just getting to an end goal. And so that's what I think like a fundamental CS education like helps with, just like understanding it more from like a fundamental like mathematical standpoint. But otherwise, like if you're talking about like syntax or like things like that, I feel like none of that really matters.
So like following up, do you think like lead code is worth it?
So our interview process has no lead code because we're like optimizing for people going from 0 to 1 and like building projects and being able to do like real world applicable things. So in my opinion, it isn't worth it because like that's literally like how we're doing it. Like we don't think it's like a good like way to gauge like whether you're gonna be a good fit to work at Amplify or not. But if you're into it, like I will not stop you from practicing lead code. If that's what you like to do in your free time, like I support it.
That is a very it's a very isolated thing. Like not a lot of companies are willing to do that. They don't have the time
That's
to
true.
kind of go through like these. I mean, they're interviewing like hundreds of thousands of candidates, right? They don't have time to do this, so they're using LinkedIn as like a proxy for that. We have time for one more question. Does anyone have any question? If not, then we can get started with the presentation. We can get started hacking.
Awesome.
Cool. Thank you so much, guys.
All right, we're almost close to getting started. I know you guys want to get started already. So we're just gonna go over some quick things. The venue situation. We have this room available. We have a table. I mean, you guys are fine to stay here. We have the incubator book downstairs in the basement. We have that. You guys go do your stuff there. We're gonna be putting food in this room, in the incubator, and some food in the SCE room. But you guys are more than welcome to just spread out across the library. I mean, it's a public library, so you guys can go sit wherever you guys want. Just some quick rules. Hopefully you guys haven't started hacking yet. Stay in your room, that's tentative. And then you're also allowed to work, like I said, you can go anywhere in the library, that's fine. I just ask that you guys are respectful to the library and the organizers and just clean up after yourself. And the best rule, make sure to have fun, because that's what we're out here for. This is a quick little agenda. So we're about to start with the hacking. We're gonna have lunch at 12. Hacking ends at 3. The deadline to submit on DevPost will be at 3 p.m., but we highly encourage you to submit by like 2:30. That way we can go through everyone faster and everyone has a fair chance. And judging will end at 4 p.m. and we'll announce the winners then, and we'll be finished around like 4:30, 4:45-ish. Just quick to our team. Me, I'm Oliver Mahana. I'm the president of SCE. We have Ryan Nguyen. He was an organizer. We just did the fireside chat. Nathan and Mizan. You guys, we'll send out the slides later, but yeah, you guys should connect with us. And just a big thank you to our sponsors, Bintlify. So shout out to Hambi. We got Stratus. Shout out to Mizan. Shout out to the club room, and shout out to the SJSU CS department with their sponsoring their own track. This is a raffle. I sent it out in the Discord yesterday. This is the school really wants a survey collected, so if you guys want to enter a raffle, we're gonna announce these winners today. There are gonna be 2 raffles. This is the first one. It's just a quick little survey. It's a $100 Amazon gift card. We'll announce it at the end as well. So there'll be 2 winners total. This is the pre-survey, and then we'll have one right before prizes are announced. We'll have the post-survey. So just everybody just scan this. It's also in the Discord, in the announcements channel. You guys can also do it there.
Okay, so now the tracks. So tracks, of course, these are prices are going to be happening. So mainly we have like 4 tracks total. So I'm sorry, 5 tracks. So the first track we have is a best overall. So this is the best project. There's only one winner. You get $800 for your whole team. So that's best overall. So that's like the most amount of money you can win here. Next we have most viable as a startup. So that's $500. So this can be like whatever you think. Hopefully the judges think that this can be a startup where you can make money, commercialize it. You would get $500. We have a best UI UX. So this is best user interface or user user UI and UX. So interaction. So it's $500. Cybersecurity. $300. We have most useless. This is just like the judges deem this is the most useless project. You would get $200. Then yeah.
And just a quick over the judging, just like I said, I encourage 2:30 p.m. You're required to submit a quick 30-second to 1-minute demo. I want to emphasize demo. This is not like a presentation. You don't have to like make this all formal. Just a demo. Show us what you built. Portray your project the best, and show us what you really want us to interpret your project as. Well, not us, the judges. And yeah, the judges will select the top 5 to top 8 of each category, and then we'll have those live demo. We really want to do everyone live demo like hackathons usually are. We just don't have the time or the manpower, sadly. So I highly encourage you guys that, or you guys have to, sorry, to submit that live demo on Dev Post. Just the criteria, we have this on the website, but yeah, this is what we're going to be using. It's on the website as well, so you guys can check it out and kind of know what we're looking for. We want to be as transparent as possible. Alright, so hacking officially begins now. Good luck, everybody. You guys can go ahead.
Wait, hold on, before hacking starts. So, is there anyone that's solo or is looking for a team? Can you raise your hand if you're on the team? 1, 2.
Yeah, if you're looking for a team, just stand up so you guys can find each other and maybe team together.
Oh, go to the corner. Take them good to the corner.
Okay, if you have a team, come to this corner, in this area right here.
If you don't have a team.
If you don't have a team, no team.
Okay, oh yeah. It's cool. You're gonna study one before I get out. Yeah. Let's go. Like I thought it was just like I think that'd be This is my technical actor, like freshman.
Just one more thing, I sent out a team formation in the Discord. Fill that out to officially register yourself with your team. So get that done so you guys are officially like registered with your team.
Just explain that.
Yeah, so you're not being in consideration if you're not officially signed up on it.
I also don't
I can analyze the security.
Dude, that's, I don't